Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of The Bald Brad Show. I'll tell you what, it feels like it's been a hot minute. We didn't upload any content over the weekend, and I feel like it's been decades since I've got to hang out with all of you. Glad you're joining me on this fine morning. Hopefully you woke up on time. Daylight savings time, we're springing forward. And like Lulu mentioned, who's sleepy? I ain't sleepy because I got my coffee. Rumble's 1775 coffee. Make sure you get yourself a bag or two. Yes, hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you, Patriots, for having my back. Wow, holy Lord, we're still waking up. Also, I wasn't late. I promise. The show started on time. I'm telling you, I don't even know if this is coming through clearly. The internet is going slow today. Mom, get off the phone. I'm trying to get on the internet. Remember those days with the broadband? That's what it feels like. Well, enough of me talking because look at the amount of tabs we have up here, folks. We got a lot of news, and this isn't even everything. Let me tell you. Let's jump right into it. And as you see on your screen, Trump administration is slashing Columbia funding, citing inaction on anti-Semitic harassment on campus. This is an understatement. The amount of funding that they're slashing is to the tune of $400 million. Why are we giving universities that kind of cash? Did anybody know that we were giving? This is just one, by the way. This is just one university. Can you imagine the billions we are spending for these university systems that are going out there and indoctrinating your children? And how do I know that? Because I went through the university. I saw it, the microaggressions, right? You're macro-aggressing me. All this nonsense. Hey, look at this photo. Identify the colors of the races, by the way, that you're looking at. And but you can't use black or white. You have to find different colors to identify these people. Not kidding. Had to go through the whole bit, the whole gambit. $400 million we're giving these people. It makes you wonder how much money we could save. The decision followed an investigation by the administration's Joint Task Force to combat anti-Semitism of the Civil Rights Act, focusing on whether the institution took prompt and effective steps to address harassment. No, they didn't. They wouldn't even allow Jewish professors on campus to run their classrooms, to run their lectures. People paid a lot of money to get an education, and because you have these wackos coming on campus, most of them not even a part of the university, hindering that is BS in my opinion, and the university should allow them to do it. Like USC, my alma mater, had massive encampments, couldn't go to class, didn't allow Jews to step foot on campus, all this shenanigans, and because they're all protesting Palestine. You guys remember that video that we showed a while back where the one of the lead protesters was demanding that they get aid, that they get, quote, humanitarian aid on campus because they would starve or they would die of thirst? Hand to God, we all watched the video. She was demanding that they get humanitarian aid. And we made the remarkable statement where we said, how is it that there's people in Gaza that are legitimately dying of famine because there is no food or water there, but yet you're over here protesting what's going on over there, but you're the one that's demanding humanitarian aid for yourself when you could walk 5 minutes off campus or on campus and get a drink of water and food? This is how these people think, and I think this is a good move. Very, very good move by the administration. And I say to do this for all universities. Why the hell are we giving them money in the first place? I'm not saying they can't use a little bit of cash, but when you're charging $120,000 for a PhD in lesbian dance theory, you know, I'm thinking maybe we shouldn't shell out the money. I'm thinking maybe we could put that to some better uses here, rather than having these nut jobs going out on campus with the freaking the scarf that Hamas wears, terrorists, and you know, saying to the river, to the sea, or some bullshit like that. Sorry, we're already cussing right now, but it gets me amped up. And I hope you're amped up, Patriots. Hit that like and subscribe button. It really does support the show. Updates on YouTube here, as I promised you. You know that we always have ongoing battles behind the scenes with YouTube. I try my best not to throw it in your faces or bother you with it because, hey, you're here for the news. You're not here to hear me complain about my own personal problems. But it does correlate to the show. So as many of you know, we were running an ad. It was the best ad I've ever ran. We were freaking killing it. And they disapproved it. They hit me with an election policy, which I have, by the way. I have the application for. They hit me with shocking content went through it, talked, finally got a guy on the phone that was willing to talk to me. First person I ever talked to via phone that was willing to not hang up on me in 4 years. The guy did an amazing job. I told him, look, bro, I went through the whole thing. I'm not a knucklehead. There's no shocking content here. I went through your policy line item by line item. You tell me where there's shocking policy. So I put it in their faces, right? Because they always go, hey, you need to re-upload your video, but you need to remove the content so you adhere to our policies. I go, cool. What content? They could never tell me for 4 years straight. You know how many times I've been through this rodeo? 4 years straight. So I threw it back at them and had this guy help me. I said, look, man, this is what they're going to do, which is exactly what they did. And so I emailed them back and I CC'd him. I said, you tell me at what parts of the video any of these violations you're saying apply. And guess what? They stealth unlocked it. They didn't even tell me. They just removed the shocking policy. Why? Because we don't pull the shenanigans they're saying we pull. We follow their policies. We do what they tell us to do so that we can grow here in our movement. So shout out to all of you folks who contribute your hard-earned money to the show. It is going back, baby, and we are running ads, and we're already at 70. We might be at 73,000 by the end of the day. We just hit 70, by the way. We are looking at, by the 15th, this is no joke, we might hit 80,000 subscribers by March 15th. That's how crazy things are working right now. Enough of that. Let's jump into the next article here. There's an exclusive where Republicans are going to grill government investigators about failures of the Biden Department of Homeland Security. Is this going to be a waste of time? Is there bigger fish to fry here? Maybe. The reason why I say is we know what took place. We have the thumb. We have the thumb. Now, is he going to be thrown in jail? That's what I want to know. This guy led to the death of thousands of Americans, from fentanyl to drug trafficking to sex trafficking to slave trafficking. Is that a thing? Human trafficking that led to slave trafficking, that led to forced labor. This guy had everything to do with it. Lawmakers will grill top government investigators on Tuesday about the failures of the Biden's Department of Homeland Security, from its handling of investigation and immigration to disastrous responses. Yeah, I would say so. Illegal immigration kind of went big time in the Biden administration. Josh, was it Breaching? What a last name, Josh. Will hold a hearing to examine waste and fraud of DHS during the Biden administration. The hearing will specifically look at FEMA's struggles responding to natural disasters, which we have updates on, by the way. We got more updates on FEMA about not helping out Trump supporters. Wait till we get to that one today. The role of DHS potentially playing in facilitating illegal immigration and censoring Americans under Biden. Look, we all know this all took place. That's the thing. Are we wasting money and time when there's bigger fish to fry? Maybe they're looking into this because you can go after Alejandro Mayorkas, who did not get a blanket pardon from Joe Biden, and maybe have some ramifications for the guy for allowing 15 million people, including sex traffickers, violent rapists, gang members, all that, the whole gambit coming into the United States. I would like some retaliation. And I'm sure the families that had their daughters raped and murdered by these illegal aliens would like some justice against this guy, because this guy's just as scummy as anybody else on the Democrat side of the aisle in Washington. And that's me being polite. That's me being PG. I could go way harder, as you all know, regarding DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. But we got to go through these articles. We got to go through the news. And the whole purpose is I want you guys up to date on what the hell's going on here heading into Monday. Because as you know, Donald Trump is a firecracker, man. The guy, I don't think has he been to bed yet? The guy got elected on January 20th. I don't think he's slept yet. Donald, go to sleep. We need you. Now, there's huge things taking place with Russia, Iran, China, Canada, Mexico. A lot of movement, a lot of puzzle pieces here. And, well, we're clashing with Iran and Russia. And I think Trump is figuring out that it's not going to be as easy as maybe it was in 2016. Trump was a new face in 2016. Nobody knew how to handle his demeanor. Nobody knew how to handle him. It was kind of shock and awe. The tariffs, him saying, look, I'll just take out terrorists with bombs, all that stuff. So now people know how he works. He did show his hand early on where he says, look, I love tariffs. I love tariffs. I'll blow you up. I love tariffs. So they kind of know almost to call his bluff, and he's been bluffing and being called on it quite a bit. Well, you have the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, signaling on Thursday that President Donald Trump will use sanctions to cripple Iran's Islamic regime and to bring Russia to the negotiating table to end its illegal war of aggression in Ukraine. We will have to see if this works. The problem is if your allies work in conjunction with you to implement these sanctions and they don't follow through on their end, kind of like we saw with Europe and energy, well, it kind of falls through at that point. Bessent, who made the remarks while speaking to the Economic Club of New York, said that Trump was deploying aggressive sanctions against Iran for immediate maximum impact. We'll see how much of an impact that has, because as you are aware, they're very, this might even happen in the next 4 years, by the way. They are very close to having enough uranium. I think they might hit 90% soon, or they already at 90% of what they would need to create a nuclear warhead. That's how close they are. So this very well might happen in the next 4 years. I think you guys are going to start seeing some bombings from Israel and the United States here very shortly, and you'll see why in just one moment. We're going to shut down Iran's oil sector and drone manufacturing capabilities, adding to that the administration will cut off the regime's access to international financial system. Making Iran broke again will mark the beginning of our updated sanction policies. If I were an Iranian, I would get all my money out of the route now. Here's the thing, though. You've already given them, meaning you, us, our taxpayer dollars under the Biden administration, have already given them 10 plus. I mean, we've actually given them hundreds of billions of dollars. I think it was like over 100 billion or something like that during the Trump administration. They've already given them. That's more than enough they need. They're doing okay. They're doing pretty good. Those sanctions, I'm not sure how much it's going to cripple them. I think they're doing just fine as of right now, and Joey hooked them up. Remember, Joey was dumb, but the people under him weren't as dumb as him and said, look, how much are they going to need in case Donald Trump gets in? Cool, 100? Okay, there's $100 billion. His remarks come after the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism allegedly tried on multiple occasions to assassinate Trump last year, including reports that they smuggled shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles in the United States. The rumor was that they smuggled 5 of them, and they had tactical teams here to take out Trump's plane. And that's why, allegedly, I don't know if this is true, allegedly Donald Trump was flying under a different aircraft to certain rallies at different moments in time. So you also have the idea of imposing tariffs here. He spoke about imposing sanctions, tough sanctions on Russia to force them to the negotiation table to bring their 3-year war in Ukraine to an end. I mean, I think sanctions should have applied harsher a while ago, maybe when Joey was in office. But remember, Joey's harsh on Russia. Donald Trump isn't. Donald Trump's been hard on Russia. Joey gave money to people that don't like us, i.e. the Iranians. Well, here's what took place.
Major factor that has enabled the Russian war machine's continued financing was the Biden administration's egregiously weak sanctions on Russian energy, stemming from worries about upward pressure on U.S. energy prices during an election season. In a craven political move, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan raised the Russian sanctions on the way out the door in January. What was the point of substantial U.S. military and financial support over the past 3 years without a commensurate and fulsome sanctions support? This administration has kept the enhanced sanctions in place and will not hesitate to go all in should it provide leverage in peace negotiations. Per President Trump's guidance, sanctions will be used explicitly and aggressively for immediate maximum impact. They will be carefully monitored to ensure that they are achieving specific objectives.
There we go. So we'll always, as you know, we'll keep you updated with what's going on with this, how the impacts are going to, the impacts of the sanctions will hurt their economy. And again, I think the big thing too is to see what the allies are going to do here, because as I mentioned, I remember Trump putting sanctions in, and he was talking about energy, all that stuff. And then I think it was even Germany. Everybody's laughing at Trump, like, oh, we're going to get our natural gas from the Russians. And he was like, are you dumb? He's like, are you crazy? And they started laughing at him. And then it ended up being true. Do y'all remember that whole thing? So I also want to give a shout out here really quick. And somebody gifted 10 members last week, and I missed it. First, I want to sincerely apologize. And second, we did find out who the name was. And I believe you guys said it was Bruce. And we know Bruce here. He has gifted subs in the past, if I remember correctly. So shout out to you, Bruce. Thank you so much for gifting 10 people a membership to the Bald Brad Show. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. And again, I want to sincerely apologize. As much as some might not think it's a big deal, when everybody even contributes $1 to the show, it's a big deal because you worked for that. You worked for that money. You worked for that money, and you're giving it to somebody else, and it's something that should be thanked. So thank you very much. Somebody says here, F YouTube, take all of their money, sue them. We are Americans. Tiffany's coming out hot. I love it. I love it. Now, here we go. We have Trump warns of sanctions on Russia if no peace is achieved. And I agree. Hell, I would just I understand he's at the negotiating table, but maybe this is something that will get the ball rolling. We will see. But I think he's having a little bit of a tougher match with this peace deal than I think he originally thought. Because remember, and I'm not trying to smack Trump around. You know, I love the guy. I always have to show this because we have a lot of new viewers who go, well, maybe he doesn't like Trump. No, I do. I voted for the guy 3 times. He told us that he would have this thing done before he entered office. It's not done. We got to get it done. If not, a lot of people are going to die, and it's not cool because those guys are my age. That's people's husbands. That's people's fathers, yada, yada, yada. Based on the fact that Russia is absolutely pounding Ukraine on the battlefield right now, I am strongly considering a large-scale banking sanctions and tariffs on Russia until a ceasefire and final settlement agreement on peace is reached. To Russia and Ukraine, get to the table right now before it's too late. Thank you, he wrote, which is telling me that they're not even willing to talk to each other. I think this is a lot worse than maybe what we're seeing in terms of these two groups talking to one another. And it almost seems like they want to continue this war. I think Ukraine is just going to get their, you know what's kicked. And they are, clearly. And they would have been if we weren't giving them hundreds of billions of dollars under Joey and a bunch of missiles. I think we even gave them aircraft and stuff like that. On Thursday, U.S. Treasury Secretary, as we just stated, is prepared to impose further sanctions on Russia. Now, the question is how harsh are these sanctions going to be? Well, allegedly, they're going to be maximum impact. Now, here's the thing. Trump likes to use big words that lead to kind of extreme consequences, but in actual practicality, they don't always lead to that maximum extreme consequence, if that makes sense. You know, it was like, he'll like say things like, I'll turn this paper over like you've never seen before, right? He says stuff like that, and it gets us, you know, we'll start laughing. It's funny, but the left still haven't picked up on the fact that he doesn't always mean maximum. It's just the way that he talks. I hope that he's serious about it because I think it does need to go in place. I think the ball doesn't need to keep rolling. But at the end of the day, as he mentioned, look, if these two don't want to create peace, well, they could fight it out themselves. And we know what's going to happen. There's not enough money coming from Europe to help the Ukrainians. And that is why, because the Europeans don't have enough money, well, that's why they're allegedly wanting to put boots on the ground. And I say allegedly because they say a lot of things. They've always have said a lot of things, especially the French. We all know how they are in history. Well, the United Kingdom saying they might put boots on the ground and aircraft in the sky. And I said, that's going to lead to a greater escalation and possibly World War III. I mean, we're getting into some really dicey territory here. And I don't think it really has shown how close we are to something like that. And I don't know how far Putin's willing to go here. And I don't think anybody really is, including Trump himself, which is kind of scary stuff. We will see. Now, speaking of things that are happening around the world, this was called out by Tulsi Gabbard. What we're about to cover was talked about with Trump years ago. You have here, this is horrifying, folks. This is really, really sad stuff. This is pure evil. Hundreds of civilians are massacred in Syria by jihadist government. This was predicted. This isn't a shock to anybody. Tulsi Gabbard is on camera talking about this not too long ago, by the way. You also have Donald Trump a long time ago saying if what was going to take place here, which it is, this is what was going to happen. And as you're seeing, it is happening. And I watched video. Obviously, I cannot show you it, but let me tell you, the video does show credence to what's happening here, and it is horrifying. They're building mass graves right now. They are digging mass graves. Hundreds of people have reportedly been massacred in Syria over the last 3 days in a coastal provinces by forces from the jihadist government. The AFP reported that more than 530 people have been confirmed killed, according to figures released by one monitor group on Saturday. Other estimates placed the number that had been killed lower, with the lowest number coming in at approximately 150, which is still insane, by the way. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz pinned the massacre on the country's new leader, the leader of the terror group, which was an offshoot of Al-Qaeda and was close to ISIS. By the way, I want to point out, we covered this as well. Remember how we talked about Sarah Adams, codenamed Superbad, I believe a former intelligence terrorist tracker for the CIA, I believe. I think she still is. We talked about how not just an offshoot, this guy was working with Al-Qaeda. This guy is a terrorist that's running Syria. And we said, gee, how could this one end? And we also stated that he wanted to be more of an influence in the world and wanted to participate as a normal country. And we're like, I don't know, you're a terrorist. I mean, you've done a lot of bad things. I don't think so. We'll see how this plays out, but we're leaning more towards things aren't going to go well. So hopefully you remember that one. That took place a while ago. Well, the guy took off his robe, put on a suit, and presented a moderate facade. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. Now he has removed the mask, revealing his true face, a jihadist terrorist from the Al-Qaeda school, committing atrocities against the Alawite civilian population. Folks, they got these guys coming out of their towns, all men, and doing army crawls as close to the dirt as they can, and they're just shooting them. And they're just shouting, you know, Allah Akbar, all this stuff. And who could have thought? This is what happens when you just allow terrorists to run roughshod over countries. By the way, I'm surprised this doesn't happen to the extent we've seen in Afghanistan when we just passed it over. And you want to know the crazy thing is? You want to know who was giving millions of dollars a week to the Taliban? That was funneling it to Al-Qaeda? Joe Biden, the Democrat Party. But remember, they don't like terrorists. Sure. Gives it to Iran, gives it to the Houthis, then gives it to, other terrorist groups, the funneling through the black market. We give our missiles to Ukraine that was allegedly selling them through the black market as well. But Donald Trump is terrible. Oh my God, he's trying to save you money. Can you believe it? Oh, what an idiot. God, he's just, making sure thousands of dollars are still in your pocket so you can spend it on your kids' education or pay off your bills. Oh, it's just terrible. Oh, God. I know. He should be sending it to terrorists and condoms for Mozambique and transing dolphins and mice in Iraq. That's where it should be. I know. That's money well spent there. No, that's a good thing. Digging fucking holes so people can shit in Afghanistan. Sure. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, it's billions of dollars there. Of course, I'm being facetious. Waste of money. Massive money laundering scheme. Travis Cobb over here at Rumble with the dollar, always supporting the show. You can never trust Islam to play well with the beliefs of others. Now, here's the sad thing is that there's a lot of good people in that faith, but there's a lot. I mean, I heard rumors up that 25% of that faith are extreme, which is millions of people, by the way, millions of people. So I don't want to bash a person's faith because I think it's how you read into that faith, but let's be real here, that it tends to lean a little bit more extreme than others. I will say that's for sure. And we got stuff here, both abroad and at home. Kash Patel's in the news here, where he has arrested U.S. Army members for betraying the country. I think there's a lot more people doing this than what we have seen yet. Now, remember, Kash has seen behind the scenes. Kash knows what's going on, where he has prosecuted people and he's read certain files. And I think he knows deeper in terms of these bureaucrats in the deep state, as well as the military members, on how they've worked and advanced our foreign adversaries' narratives and initiatives than actually our own. So one former soldier and 2 active duty U.S. Army soldiers were arrested over alleged schemes to send national defense information to China. The Justice Department announced Thursday that Jin Zhao and Li Tian, is that how you say their names? I don't know, it doesn't matter. Both active duty soldiers based on the Joint Base Lewis McChord in Washington, I'm probably butchering that as well, and former soldier, I'm not even gonna bother, had been charged for stealing U.S. military secrets. They were accused of stealing top secret hard drives, information on weapon systems, and documents on missile defenses to sell to individuals based in China. How often have we seen these stories? About once a year. About once a year, we've seen these stories where there's people selling our information to China. And I think it's more rampant than we even realize. I think this is happening on a weekly basis where there's people in our military or our intelligence apparatus funneling information, not just to China, but I'm sure to Iran, I'm sure to North Korea, all over the place. This needs to stop immediately. And by the way, here's the thing. If they were actually doing it, if you always have to lead with consequences. If you keep giving people a slap on the wrist, well, then it just gives them more incentive to do it. I'll tell you what, there's not too many people who are willing to do this over in China, being part of the CCP and then funneling information to America. I'm sure it's going on. I'm sure there's spies all over the place, right? That's obvious. But if you don't put a harsh penalty, if these people actually did what is being claimed they did, what's stopping the next guy from not doing it? The defendants arrested today are accused of betraying our country, actively working to weaken America's defense capabilities, and empowering our adversaries in China, said Attorney General Pam Bondi, whose trust, I should say, from the public, from Americans, isn't so hot right now. Pam Bondi is not, maybe no fault to her own, is not exactly gaining trust with the American people as of right now. And that more or less comes from the Epstein list, the JFK files, such and such. So we'll see. People are willing to give her time, including myself, but it's not going in her favor, let's just say. They will face swift, severe, and comprehensive justice. The two individuals were charged in Oregon, that's a big leftist ran area, with conspiring to commit bribery and theft of government property. One individual was charged in Washington with conspiring to obtain and transmit national defense information and other bribery and theft of government property. Well, we'll see what they do with them. But like I said, if you're just going to give them a slap on the wrist, people are just going to keep doing it. I remember there was a guy that was selling information, this was probably like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, where he was selling information and the information itself was being sold only for like $4,000. It wasn't a lot of money. It was really cheap. And I was kind of surprised that a guy willing to sacrifice so much for so little. But when you're kind of in that mindset of helping the Chinese government, which a lot of Chinese people are, you're willing to make that sacrifice. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing, hit that like and subscribe button, folks. If you're having a good time, let me know. Greatly appreciate everybody in the chat. Treason equals public hanging. There you go. I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but Hans came in hot right there at Rumble. Tiffany says, Tiffany, are you new here, by the way? We want to give you a shout out if you're new here. The evil P-boy Zell wants his country like this. I think it means Zelensky. Bradford says, we have one God and only one holy book, the Bible, the King James Bible. The authorized is the best translation we have. There's one church in the Bible. It's the Church of God. Love it. Love it. Bradford Sullivan. Good to see all of you in the chat. Glad you choose my outlet. That's awesome. We are growing here. We're planning on hitting 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. At the rate we're going to be hitting it in 4 months. We might hit 100. If this continues, we will hit 100,000 in 4 months. It's freaking bonkers and crazy. And we'll have to have 100,000 stream or something like that and have a huge party and go, woo, pop off. We have here the Department of Homeland Security identifies criminal leakers. So not only do we have people selling stuff, but we have criminal leakers as well. Department of Homeland Security has identified 2 leakers who allegedly exposed DHS's deportation plans, which we've been wondering who the hell was doing this. This was echoed by Tom Homan. Now, this is why he hasn't been going into sanctuary cities as much, and he's had to deviate his plans and not gone in and taken and apprehended criminals, which is still mind-blowing, right? It's still mind-blowing, the fact that there's people out there that are committing massive crimes, and Democrats like, it's okay, stay here, we'll harbor you. No, it's fine. Oh, you're gonna murder an entire family. Oh, you did? It's okay, it's fine. How much money do you need a month for rental assistance? Oh, 10 grand? That's fine, we'll cover it. You need food? You need blankets? You need the whole gamut? You need everything. Gotcha. We'll take care of you. No, you don't have to pay us anything. Are you kidding me? You're here free. Don't worry about it. Oh, your kid needs free education. Now we got that too. Don't worry about it. It's amazing. Oh, you plan on killing more people. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You're safe here. You're safe. We've identified 2 leakers of information here at the Department of Homeland Security who've been telling individuals about our operations and putting law enforcement lives in jeopardy, she said in a video message on Friday. We plan to prosecute these 2 individuals and hold them accountable for what they've done. We're going to continue to do all that we can to keep America safe. Again, it all comes down to consequences. What are the consequences going to be? Because if it's a slap on the wrist, people are just going to keep doing it. How do we know? Well, it's always been that way. 1, look at the education system. There is no consequences for these kids anymore. And 2nd, you can look to see what happened with the smash and grabs with Prop 47 in the state of California. When you make something a misdemeanor, a slap on the wrist, well, it exacerbates the problem because people know they can get away with it.
Everyone, I wanted to give you a quick update. We have identified 2 leakers of information here at the Department of Homeland Security who have been telling individuals about our operations and putting law enforcement lives in jeopardy. We plan to prosecute these 2 individuals and hold them accountable for what they've done. And we're going to continue to do all that we can to.
Wow, yeah, the internet, well, pretty much got through a whole clip here. There's only 2 more seconds. But boy, oh boy, is the internet struggling today, folks. I don't know what's going on. Is there weather? Is there a storm outside? It is really, really struggling on my end. So let's hope that those leakers get the justice that is deserved by the American people here, because you have violent gang, MS-13, was that the Tren de Agua gang, 18th Street gang members and perpetrators for sexual crimes are on the streets. Remember, these are people that are kidnapping children, by the way. These are people that are selling your children off to forced labor and sex trafficking to the tune of like 300,000 people. Now, I've been conservative saying 130,000, but it's 300,000.
We're going after MS-13 gang members, 18th Street gang members this morning. These guys are rock stars, making our streets safe.
There you go. Going out there, make a little PR move. And it's just bonkers to see the Democrats wanting, we always say it, it's nothing new here, to harbor these criminals. And when you talk to them, like we've seen in the state of California, they have no qualms with it. And we've shown the receipts. I mean, how many videos do we have to show? How many articles do we have to show? And here's the thing. Right now, with their mouths and their actions, they are cool with harboring illegal aliens that are killing and murdering people. We're putting aside the ones that are like working, right? Like, and aren't criminals. Like, we're totally just millions of them we're putting to aside at the moment. We are talking specifically about people that want to harm your women and children, your families, your livelihood, all those things. And they want to keep them here and have no problems with it. They've seen a better life. The reason why I say if they need a better life, they just came here to feed their families. This is because this is what they are saying, and I'm just echoing what they are saying. And it's really bonkers, the things that they say. And by the way, it's not just normal Democrats or progressive lefties in the state of like California, but it's also people in legacy media. And that's why it's the title of today's episode. Democrats and legacy media don't have a clue about anything. You have an MSNBC guest suggest that Ukrainians reflect American values. We got a couple of these clips about Democrats and legacy media today, and they're all crazy.
Person who's watching, yes, who just heard you say Donald Trump is not standing up for Ukraine. What do you say to the person who says, well, I don't care about Ukraine. I want Donald Trump to stand up for America. What do you say to them?
I don't know where you got that. I mean, I don't have time for it.
Yes, because, but we hear it. We hear it.
Here's the thing. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in a place where you thought the Russians were the good guys? What part of America did you grow up in where they taught you the Russians were the good guys and our allies were the bad guys? That's the flip here that we need to continue to remind people. The Russians are the bad guys. They're raping women. They're killing children. They're bombing cities. The Ukrainians are the noble good guys. In some ways, they're more American than we are over the last couple of years. And we must stand with them in the same way we stood with the allies in World War II and since this country was founded. This is not just about Ukraine. This is about the core and the integrity of American values. And that's what he's also betraying. Not just Ukraine. He's betraying America.
The person who's
where to start? Ukraine claims to be a democracy, but yet they were supposed to have an election last year and didn't have it. They claim to be utilizing our money wisely and carrying traditional values that Americans hold in terms of using a money appropriately. Or I guess maybe that's not an American value anymore, according to the Democrat left, with the way they're spending it. But they have lost millions of our dollars, sending it to terrorist organizations, allegedly, and just being completely corrupt. I don't think that they carry too many of our values. I really don't. And look, they don't have freedom of speech there, from my understanding, like actual concrete freedom of speech. They don't have a Second Amendment right. They claim to be a democracy, which we had to push them for. I have trouble fully believing that they are more American than actual Americans are. I don't know. That's the media for you. I mean, what a crazy freaking statement to say. And it wasn't just him. We're about to get into some wild stuff right now, folks. So hit that like and subscribe button, because we got another clip here. And this one was a doozy. These next one or two are really some doozies. There was a Democrat, a prominent Democrat. You ready for this? Claiming on illegal entry sparks debate. So during an MSNBC interview, Representative Jasmine Crockett, who's been making airwaves, she's kind of ghetto, stated that entering the United States illegally is not a crime. We have the receipts. Now you might think, oh, no. This might have just been twisting her words. I'm surprised this isn't even in a quote. You're like, Brad, there's no way. There's no way. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is the Democrat Party for you, folks, on MSNDNC.
It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations. And so that it is not a.
I'm just going to play it again, because I think there are some people out there that might go, there's no way that I just heard what I heard. Brad, it's edited. Brad, it's manipulated. You're showing me cheap fakes, deep fakes. No. We don't need to watch the whole thing again. We just need to watch the first half, the first bit, not even half, to see that the outlandish claim that she just said.
It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated.
Folks, it is a crime. It is. It's I'm actually going to copy and paste the actual code for everybody in the chat. That's it there. There you go. It's in the chat. US code 8 USC 1325. Illegal entry is technically a misdemeanor. Critics argue this simplifies the nuanced enforcement where civil penalties are often prioritized. The discussion reflects ongoing debates about immigration law interpretation and enforcement. No, it's a crime. It's a crime. I just copied it there. But it makes sense maybe why Democrats are like, you can't take them, they're ours. They're more American than you are. Some stupid shit, right? It's so silly. It is so silly. A couple notifications here. Thank you, PISI 100, for following over at The Bald Brad Show. We do get notifications when you do follow us over at Rumble. Greatly appreciate you. Jellison says her statement is a contradiction in terms. Correct. Thank you for watching us over at Rumble. We are growing here, folks. There's a lot of new people. Jade Hunter, it's highly disrespectful, like going to someone's home. Exactly correct. Correctamundo. If you're not following us over on X, make sure you do so, because we do post quite a bit over there. Now, in regards to illegal immigration, we will get to that in just one moment. But before we do get to it, we have more chats here. I really want to see an illegal person to enter her house and see how fast she wants them out. See, I love that line of thinking, because when you take it down to the individual, things all of a sudden change. When people are impacted in a specific way, they change really quickly. Press the button. There you go. Yes, press the like button. Love that. Well, Russian suspected terrorist, tries to bite off finger of deportation officer. Now, there's not much I really want to add here other than the fact that there is a Russian national classified as a known or suspected terrorist allegedly attempted to bite off a deportation officer's pinky as he was being apprehended in downtown where? Downtown where? Oh, Los Angeles. By the way, I was just here the other day. I was at downtown Los Angeles and homeless people on Hollywood Boulevard. And I promised I would grab some clips for y'all, and I did. We will see if I can get that to you today. If not, we'll watch it at some point. But I got 2 really short clips, and I wanted to see how close I can get these vagrants to the actual entrance of Pantages Theater, which is where I was at, on Hollywood Boulevard. Now, if you're not familiar with this, I am talking about one of the most touristy of touristy areas. Hollywood Walk of Fame, there's stars on the ground, homeless people just everywhere. So I got a couple people, a guy yelling at himself, and then a guy smoking, and just all sorts of stuff. We'll see if we can get to it. But you have this guy here, and the reason why I want to show it too, because the Democrats keep talking about Mexicans being illegal immigrants, and I go, that's kind of messed up because there's like 190 nations here, and there's like we took in everybody. We got like 10% of Haiti here. No, there's Russians that need to be deported as well. There's Chinese nationals that need to be deported. There's people from Haiti that need to be deported. They're coming from everywhere. It's not just Mexicans. But have you noticed, for some odd reason, it's really weird, I don't see a lot of Russian Americans protesting in the streets about deportation of Russians. Do you guys? Weird. Yeah, no, I don't see too many Haiti Americans protesting the deportation of Haiti immigrants. Weird. I don't see a lot of Chinese people protesting, waving their flag for the deportation of the Chinese. Do you guys? Because I don't see it. I haven't actually seen a single one. Weird. I don't really see too many, I don't know, German protesters for the deportation of Germans. Odd. Really weird. Yeah, I don't see too many other countries other than just really Mexicans out there protesting for someone waving the Mexican flag of which a country they don't even want to live in themselves. Weird. We know why. We know why. Yep, we know why. Now, Trump, regarding more foreign news, says Iran was told to accept nuclear deal or face U.S. military. Now, some of you have acknowledged in the chat earlier on when I said that they were about 90% capacity in terms of uranium enrichment to creating a nuclear warhead, meaning you will probably see it very, very soon within probably Donald Trump's administration. The Iranians will have enough rich uranium, to build a nuclear warhead. Now, does that mean that they're going to use it for that? We don't know, but let's be real, probably going to use it, which is a huge problem for the Israelis. You might see a nuclear attack in your lifetime. God forbid. God forbid. But look what we predicted with Syria. Now they're going around and slaughtering Christians. President Donald Trump said over the weekend that if Iran's Islamic regime does not enter into a deal that prevents it from developing a nuclear weapon, that the U.S. military will intervene to stop it from acquiring one. This one, I don't think Trump is bluffing. He has to intervene, especially as somebody that is such a strong ally of Israel, whether you like Israel or not. I think he's going to follow through on this. And if he doesn't, he's going to give Israel the authorization to just go obliterate those military facilities. And as we've mentioned, we've seen the buildup of these facilities with the satellite imagery during the Biden administration because Joey didn't want to do anything. And this is all thanks to Barack Obama, by the way. Barack Obama's nuclear deal was one of the most crippling deals in United States history. And I know people say a lot of extreme things like that all the time where, oh, it's the worst deal ever. I couldn't believe it. This really, I mean, I think a lot of people, both on the right and the left and in the everybody, would agree that it was a terrible deal. Now, anybody with a rational mind, there's a lot of crazies out there. It was a bad deal. And on top of that, it was a deal that says, oh, well, we're going to inhibit the ability of you building a nuclear warhead, which did the exact opposite. It's kind of like Joe Biden pushing through the Inflation Reduction Act, where the name of it sounds like it's going to do the thing that it's supposed to do, but it does the exact opposite. And Joe Biden even said it did the exact opposite. It actually caused inflation. It's very similar to those. And that's why Donald Trump got rid of the deal when he came into office back in 2016. So here they are now, because Joey didn't want to do anything. Joey gave them $10 billion to $100 billion to build a nuclear warhead and fund terrorism. Now Donald Trump has to clean up the mess somehow. And how is he going to do it? I don't know. But he says there are two ways Iran could be handled, militarily or make a deal. But we just saw that Iran's not willing to make a deal. They don't want to come to the table. And Trump says, I would prefer to make a deal because I'm not looking to hurt Iran. They're great people. I know so many Iranians from this country. Trump made it clear that he's not talking about the country's, he's talking about the country's leadership, but, and he's saying that they're very evil people. He's trying to separate the fact that you have the Iranian people, the population, but then you have the government. Two separate things. Very similar to how I say you have Democrats, but when I'm talking about Democrats, I'm talking about the progressive left. It's just now that I've noticed a lot of Democrats seem to be leaning more towards progressive left, I've really kind of lumped them all into one. Some people are more willing to segregate them. As of right now, I'm not. I stopped segregating them a while ago in terms of progressive left and Democrat because, well, let's be fair. Look at what we saw during Donald Trump's congressional address. Look at all the Democrats in the audience. Those are progressive lefties. Not a single one stood for the obvious things. Even Republicans stand when you had Joe Biden in office for some things. So Trump would rather negotiate a deal. I'm not sure that everybody agrees with me, but we can make a deal that would be just as good as if we won militarily. But the time is happening now. The time is coming up. Something's going to happen one way or the other. I hope that Iran, and I've written them letters saying, I hope you're going to negotiate. I'll be honest with you. They haven't wanted to negotiate. They don't want to do anything. So they want to be bombed, and it's going to happen. Even if you don't want it to happen, it has to happen. You can't have Iran have a nuclear warhead. What else are you going to do? You tried diplomacy. They didn't want to come to the table. You hit them with massive sanctions. You cripple their country. And you know what's sad is, you know who pays the price for all of this? The people of Iran, because their government doesn't want to do what it's going to do. We got more news here to cover. Well, let's see if we can get it within the next 7 minutes. But Canada has a new prime minister. Mark Carney immediately takes shot at Trump over trade war. 51st state comments will destroy our way of life. Mark Carney, the former head of the UK and Canada central banks, was named prime minister, Justin Trudeau's successor, Sunday, and immediately fired shots at President Trump in his victory speech. Carney, 59, overwhelmingly won the race to lead the country's federal Liberal Party on Sunday after taking home 86% of the ballots, making him the first outsider with no real political background to become Canada's prime minister. The longtime banker will take the reins of Canada during a contentious period between the countries and the U.S. as Trump has threatened to impose additional tariffs that would cripple the northern country's export-dependent economy and to make Canada the 51st state. By the way, I still don't think Trump is serious about making Canada the 51st state. I think he just does that because it pisses people off, and he likes to rile them up a little bit. Whether you want him to rile them up or not, I don't think he's serious about making Canada the 51st state. Carney wasted no time in brushing off Trump's threats, using his victory speech as a rally cry against the commander-in-chief and the United States. I don't think Canadians want the Liberal Party at all. I think they want the Conservative Party to go ahead and handle things, and we'll see how long that guy lasts up there in Canada. He says, quote, America is not Canada, and Canada never, ever will be a part of America in any way, shape, or form. Well, let's not say ever. Let's not say ever. There might be a moment where we get to buy you. We'll cut a check. It's not a big deal. Remember, Canada really, I mean, landmass is huge, right? But in terms of population, they're not that much bigger than California. The state of California at one point was the same size as the entire population of Canada. Not that big. Canada's very small. We didn't ask for this fight, but Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. No, you're not. Come on. And again, you're seeing these countries act like they're bigger than they are. They're the size of California, folks. That's it. And they're, oh, well, when somebody's willing to drop the gloves, we are too. Really? Really? Oh, come on. Like, I love the Canadians, but really, let's stop it. Come on. The Americans want our resources, our water, our land, our country. Think about it. If they succeed, they will destroy our way of life. I don't think you have much of a way of life right now. A lot of people don't like the way that you're running your country. I mean, hell, you're going after your own truckers. You're going after people's right to freedom of speech, even though you don't technically codify it. Let's come on. Let's stop it here, Canadians. Come on. Let's be real. Come on. You need somebody else there. You need a good leader. You need Donald Trump as your president. On the campaign trail, Carney emphasized that his economic experience made him the best candidate to grapple with Trump and his tariff agenda. Carney beat out former finance minister, former government House leader, and former member of parliament in a contest which just under 152,000 party members voted. So we'll see. We'll see. But he said some pretty interesting things in the past, like this statement here where we can't stabilize climate until we get to net zero emissions. So this is the guy that was just elected. This guy's a hardcore lefty, folks.
Skepticism about ESG labels or sustainable labels. And that, again, is one of the reasons we're having this ruthless, relentless focus on net zero, because in the end, look, we can't stabilize the climate unless we get to net zero. And it's a simple, these are hard numbers. Your emissions are either A or B. They're going up or down. And if they're going down, are they going down consistent with the science? We anchor it in the science, the same science the UN and others use for the 1.5 degree objectives. Skepticism about.
If you're a Canadian and he's trying to drive your country to zero net emissions, your country is doomed. You're going to be in a very, very tough position, a very tough spot. But we'll let the Canadians deal with that themselves. And we've seen where that ended with us. It ended up with us hurting our own economy, allowing the Chinese and other nations like Russia to advance their economies, mostly the Chinese, and just shoot ourselves in the foot. And not to mention, utilize climate and that whole bullshit agenda to move billions of dollars, potentially at this point, trillions of dollars across the globe, and we aren't able to track it. In some cases, quite literally, because there's no code next to it. And it's all for the sake of climate change. I was told in my lifetime that I would be dead because of climate change multiple times. Just in my lifetime. Some of you are older. Some of you are in your 60s. You've seen it since the 70s, even before then, right? Before it was going to be a cold snap. You know what I mean? Oh, we're all going to die because of the cold. You're going to freeze to death. And then they changed it to global warming with Al Gore. And then because that agenda didn't work and they couldn't waste your money anymore and people caught on to it. Well, now it's climate change because the climate changes. And if you don't agree that the climate changes, one day it rains, the next day it doesn't. Well, you're a conspiracy theory. You're a tinfoil hat. The scientists agree. The same people that wanted to mask up in their car 5 times and take about 26 jabs, those are the people that we're supposed to listen to. Follow the science. Remember how they said, you have to be 6 feet social distancing. Follow the science. Where's your mask? While they're spitting through their mask at you in your face and you're like drenched. And then Fauci comes out years later and says, yeah, we just made up the whole 6-foot social distancing thing. Do you guys remember how we talked about that article? Fauci comes out and says, yeah, there was no science between the 6 feet social distancing. We just kind of came up with it. But don't worry, follow the science. Yeah. Destroy your entire economy for the sake of something that's going to drop or increase the global temperature by less than 1% or one degree. Yeah, sure. Okay. No, it's great. I don't know if all of you saw this yesterday. This was kind of some interesting news. The Secret Service is in the news where they shot a man near the White House after armed confrontation. Now, this does not mean this person was going after Donald Trump, but maybe they were. We'll have to find out in the article in a moment. I haven't looked at it. I saw the headline, saw someone got shot, and I was like, this seems interesting. You never know. We have here the United States Secret Service personnel shot an armed man near the White House early Sunday morning. Well, how close was he? The individual had parked his car near 17th and F Streets, northwest, close to an entrance to the White House. Okay, so it's pretty close. And the Eisenhower executive office building. The Secret Service said President Donald Trump was in Florida for the weekend, staying at Mar-a-Lago, and was not in the vicinity when the shooting occurred, which is always good news that the president wasn't around. That's good. Earlier on Saturday, local police shared information about a suicidal individual who may be traveling to Washington, D.C. from Indiana. I mean, talk about intelligence there. That's good to know. That means they've been tracking him for a while. So I like to see that type of news headline that we're actually able to track people that are crazy. Around midnight, members of the Secret Service encountered the individual's parked vehicle near 17th and F Streets. They also saw an individual on foot matching the description nearby. As officers approached, the individual brandished a firearm and an armed confrontation ensued, during which shots were fired by personnel. It seems like suicide by cop, right? The guy was already suicidal and they were tracking him since he was from Indiana, allegedly. Well, it seems like maybe that was his agenda. He couldn't do it himself, so he needed somebody else to pull the trigger, which is kind of messed up because now somebody has to live with the fact that they killed somebody else for the rest of their life. I'm not saying the guy being suicidal and offing himself was the best solution either, But if you had to pick between the two, somebody will have to decide that one on their own. But, now that guy has to live with the rest of his life that he killed somebody, which is messed up. But, if you're struggling with anything, there's people out there that love you. That's all I could say. There's a lot of people out there that love you. They don't even know you, but they want you to have the best life. And if anybody's struggling with anything, my advice would be always try to find purpose in life. And it's not always easy, but try to find a hobby, try to find purpose, try to find meaning in everything that you do. And sometimes you'll have to try multiple things before you find that true purpose. And there's a great movie called Into the Sahara with Matthew McConaughey. And if you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it because there's a great quote in there. You got to go through a bit of the movie to get there. But basically their plane crashed, I believe, if I remember correctly. And they were going to die. They're in the middle of the freaking Sahara. It's game over. It's GG. They're going to die of thirst. They're going to die of hunger. They got nothing. And the conversation is, do we build this plane? And the conversation is kind of like, well, what's the point? Because we're going to die anyways. And the guy basically said, you got to just give man purpose. You got to give man something to do. And that will help out a lot in terms of morale. And that's always paid dividends for me ever since I've seen that movie, is always trying to find purpose in everything I do. Obviously, the show, I think, speaks for itself in terms of purpose. But even outside of the show, helping others, maybe that's community service, maybe that's going to church and reading the Bible with somebody. Heck, I don't know. But I hope if there's anybody in here that struggles with something, if you need an outlet to talk to, I respond to people's emails. I respond to people on X. Don't do anything stupid. Obviously, call a hotline. And but if you need somebody to talk to, and always reach out to me. Don't do anything stupid, really. So we all struggle with things. And if you need some prayer, you tell people in the chat you need some prayer. You know what I mean? We got a lot of people of faith that follow the Bald Brad Show. And as much as we hound Democrats and stuff like that, at the end of the day, we're all Americans. We all go through stuff. We all work multiple jobs, or some of us do. I work multiple jobs. And I just want you to know that you do have an outlet here and that we all struggle with things. So, reach out before you do something stupid, because people love you. David says, Brad, my favorite headline from February 14th, 2007, lawmakers cancel global warming hearing as mammoth snowstorm heads east. Yeah. Wow. You actually looked that up, didn't you, David? That's great. I love that. Thank you so much for posting that. And yeah, we all remember the Al Gore days. We all remember, I remember, heck, Dennis Quaid doing the Day After Tomorrow movie, right? There was all those doom and gloom movies for a good time span. 2012 was another movie where it was all the world's going to end. We've been told so many times that we're going to die in 2 years from global warming or climate change. And here we are. We're still here. The sea levels are going to rise. Don't buy beachfront property. But then all these elites and all these billionaires and millionaires go buy for your beachfront property. Oh, and then these are the same people that are saying that it's going to end. Yeah. Holy Lordy. Johnny here says, hey, I appreciate the information about getting published. Earnest Goodness book published. I don't know what you're talking about, Johnny, but email me. And I don't know if you published a book, but we would love to highlight it if you did. And if you did, congratulations. But I remember this had been a while ago, but somebody did email me about self-publishing. We do have an update regarding, it's been a couple years. Our book launched almost 2 years ago to the day. March 13th, 2023 was when Trojan Horse, How the Left Has Destroyed America was published. And we have news. I'm officially in the midst. I've said it before, but I've written like 2 half books and I was like, I don't really like it. We are officially in the midst of writing our next book, folks. It is happening. I wrote 1,000 words yesterday. And for those that think that's not a lot, usually people write like 1,000 words a week sometimes. I wrote 1,000 words. My goal is 1,000 words a day. And we'll see. It's going to be between 60, 80,000. Should take a couple months to write. That is my goal. So we are back to creating and writing once again. And I have a really good idea. And I think you guys are going to like this. If you like Trojan Horse, you're really going to like this one. I'm making it a banger. And as I mentioned, it's always something that I would want to read. It's something that I would be interested in. So with that being said, your birthday's March? My birthday's March 13th. What the? Me and Danielle Slater have the same birthday. That's crazy. I don't believe you. I was born first. Turning 36, but actually, yes, my birthday is, believe it or not, is March 13th. That is a real day, by the way. No, it's my birthday, J2. Well, we could celebrate our birthdays together that morning then, Danielle. So please, we'll be live. So come on in and we could share our birthday together. Well, with that being said, I have to go to work, folks. God bless y'all for always hanging out. Thank you so much for keeping each other accountable and telling each other to hit that like button. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. I can't believe I'm saying that. I was talking to a buddy this weekend and I was like, I didn't even thought I'd to 10,000, let alone almost 80,000 now at this point. But God bless y'all. Have a great and wonderful day. Do something nice for somebody, even if it's just maybe buying them a coffee or, just saying good morning, something simple. My kids are March 13th. This is getting crazy. No, I'm not even joking. My birthday's really the 13th. Turning 53. 53 is the new 21, I'm told. So there you go. Well, have a lovely day. And yes, my birthday is really the March 13th. We'll have an awesome day then, because it seems like there's a lot of people's birthday that day. And have a blessed day, Patriots. Take care.